guys, welcome or welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are going to be prepping for Purim. I am going to tell you more about it, what this holiday is all about, for those of you that don't know. I'm Jewish and are not aware of it. But right now, we are starting off with some challah that we're going to shape into a crown. So my water is finally ready to add the yeast. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll tell you all about it. I'm going to add the sugar as well. And this is a different recipe challah than I usually make. So you close the fingers and hope that it comes out. It says to mix this a little bit, and I'm going to let this proof a little bit. So Purim is a Jewish holiday. Like any other Jewish holiday, it starts at night at sunset and it ends the following day at sunset. So Purim is a holiday that we get dressed up. It is a snow day. We are having a blizzard here. We'll clear up for you. And we have another snow day. So it's a perfect day to be in the kitchen making challah. So Purim is a holiday, like I said, that we get dressed up. We hand out gifts and presents. Usually it's candy or baked goods, or it has to be, so before we eat, we make a blessing. So it has to have two blessings. So that means two different types of foods. Like fruits have one, vegetable have another bracha, another blessing. Breads have one, grape juice has a specific one, grape juice and wine. There's one for baked goods. So there's a bunch of different blessings, so you have to give at least two blessings. Another thing we do is that we party. We read Megillah Esther, which is the story of Purim. And so people get together to read the Megillah together. And then they'll get together with family or friends and party. My family, what we've been doing for years is my in-laws host Megillah reading in their house. And then they have a party right after in the house as well. And every year I've been offering food. I can't show up there without kugel. So I'll be making 2 kugels, but not in this video. I'm going to bring you along next week. It's going to be next week, Monday night, Tuesday. So I'm going to bring you guys along for that. But challah can go in the freezer. So I figure it's perfect. Snow day, perfect day to be inside. Bake something. So we're going to be making this. So I'm going to make a challah that is going to be a crown shape because of Queen Esther. And then we're going to make, if we have extra dough with this, we're going to make Challah taschen or Deli Taschen. I don't know what to call it. But if this is not enough dough, I'm going to make a second batch. And we're going to make hamantaschen, which is a triangle-shaped pastry that has a filling inside. Usually the traditional ones will have a sweet filling, which I actually have some in the store, that I bought from the store. I can show you what the traditional ones look like. But I want to do it with challah dough and stuff it with sort of like a deli roll filling, where I'm going to cut up some pastrami, some onions, cook it down with mustard, and this is what the traditional hamantash will look like. It's a triangle-shaped pastry with a sweet. This is a raspberry jam filling inside. So we're going to do it with challah dough and fill it with a pastrami onion filling instead. So let's see, our yeast looks good, so I think we can move on to the next step here. And I can take another sip of my coffee. Now, I've never made challah that's called for vanilla, so we're going to see how that goes. I figured that for the crown, it doesn't really matter. If I have to make a second dough just for the challah taschen or deli taschen, then I'm not going to add in the vanilla because I don't know how the vanilla will work with pastrami and mustard. So we're going to add our next set of ingredients. Now, usually I wouldn't beat the eggs beforehand, but this recipe does say to do that. And since it's the first time I'm making it and I'm making a mess, I'm going to do that. Okay, next up, we're going to add the salt in here. This is sea salt, and the recipe calls for fine sea salt, so we had to grind some because I don't have any fine sea salt. And now it does give cup measurements for the flour. So let me open up this bag. It says that it will come out to about 5 pounds of flour. So I'm going to start off with 13 cups, and we can add up to 2 if necessary. So I'm going to fluff up this flour a little bit because it's always going to be compacted coming out of the bag. 1, 2. I think I'm going to start kneading it also as I'm adding it. Okay, so that's 13 cups. We'll see how it looks. It says add flour as needed until the dough pulls away from the sides of the bowl, which it is still sticking a little bit. So I think I'll add another cup. It's almost an entire cup. Let's see what happens now. I think I'm going to add the remaining. I have probably a little bit more than a quarter cup in here, and I feel like it can use the little extra. This feels nice and good. I'm debating if I should let it go for longer. I think it's fine. So now we're going to get some oil into our bowl here. And now the easiest way I find to get the dough out of the bowl is that even with the dough hook inside, everything as is, just take the whole bowl and flip it over. And it's slowly going to release itself and fall out. And there we go. Take a minute, but gravity will do its thing. I'm going to take out any big chunks of dough from in the bowl. And then we're going to remove the dough hook. And now we want to make sure that it's covered with oil on all sides. So we'll flip it over. I like to flatten it a little bit. And we're going to let this rise in a warm spot for 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to wash my hands and then we're going to cover this. Got a helper in the kitchen.
Yeah, you do.
That is very excited about this project. Was actually her request. I'm going to cover this with a towel. And we're going to set this aside for 2 hours. So now is 10:30. So we'll have a look at it at 12:30 and see what's happening with this. Now, while this is going, oh, this tomato fell out. While that is rising, we have a few more baking projects that we want to do today. We are going to make cupcakes. We want to share it with some people today. What else? Oh, and we're going to make the filling. The filling for the Deli Taschen will make closer to the 2-hour mark. And what else did I want to make today? Oh, for the Mishloach Manos, which is the food gifts that we hand out, I want to make some oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. I have to see if I have all the ingredients for it. My daughter wants to make homemade granola bars for her friends. I'm going to make oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. I'll tell you all about the theme and how we're dressing up next time. But this has to do with our theme a little bit. I don't know if we have oats. I might have used it up last time that we made granola bars. If we have the ingredients for that, we're going to make it today. Ooh, let me take out chicken from the freezer. For dinner today, we're going to let this defrost. Let me see what we're making for dinner today. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I have this little plastic thingy that I usually write my weekly menus on it, but I didn't update it this week. Sometimes I get lazy and I don't do these things, so I'm pulling out my planner. Should we do the Asian chicken fingers or chicken wraps today? Okay, so it's a quick marinade. So we can, once the chicken is defrosted, we can make the marinade, set it in the fridge, and we can have it sit for longer than 10 minutes. And it'll still be fine. Okay, so this will stay open at this page, somewhere else. Okay, so I'll see you guys, I guess, when we make the cupcakes. You want to make the cupcakes? You're going to bring them along?
Sure.
Sure? Okay, so we'll see you when she's ready to make cupcakes. Okay, so now we're getting ready to make the cupcakes. So she's starting by adding all the eggs. And this is a recipe that always works for us. It always comes out perfect and it tastes delicious. Next she's adding sugar. And now she's going to turn it on. I'm going to beat it until it's nice and light and fluffy. Oil, orange juice, vanilla sugar, baking powder, and flour. As soon as it's incorporated, turn off the machine. That's it. That's all it takes. Now you can prepare the pans. I think once she's done filling these and these go into the oven, I'm going to start with a pastrami filling for our challah taschen. Because it's already an hour and a half from when we made the dough. Let me actually have a peek at it. It's rising nicely, but it might actually need the 3 hours. I think we can wait. These are going in the oven on 350 for 20 minutes. So for the Deli Taschen, I decided I'm going to call it Deli Taschen because you can do this with any type of dough. I'm going to use the challah dough, but you can use a cookie dough, you can use a puff pastry. So I think Deli Taschen suits it better. So I am going to dice the onion. I'm going to saute it. And that's our cupcakes. Let's have a peek at it to make sure that it's ready. I think they need another couple minutes. My pan is already preheating. And I am going to add it into my pan. Once let's see, it's pretty hot already. So I'm going to add in some oil there. And for this, I don't have a recipe, so I'm just going to make something up as I go. I'm going to add some oil in here. may have been a bit too much. We're going to see how much pastrami we have once we cut that up. And if I still feel like it's too much, then before I add that into the pan, I'm going to take out some onions and I can use it for a different application on a different day. So it'll just be sautéed onion prepped for me for another day. We've got the cooling racks for the muffins when they come out, cupcakes, whatever. I'm going to add some salt in here with the onions. And we're going to let this cook down. We've got some pastrami here. So I think how I'm going to cut this is I'm also going to cube it. So the whole thing stacked. Roughly about the same size as the onions were cut. Okay, these onions are nice and translucent. I'm going to add in the pastrami. I think I like the ratio of pastrami to onion. I'm going to add a bit more spices. I'm going to add some more salt, some black pepper, and some Dijon mustard. 2 tablespoons, maybe 3. Let me taste this for seasoning. Oh, it's hot. Shouldn't have done that. Let me get a spoon. I think you can use a bit more salt and pepper. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more Dijon as well. Another half a tablespoon. And yeah, I like the ratio of onion to pastrami. Now that pastrami is mostly separated. Because I had put them in, they were still stacked from the package. Perfect. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put the filling into the bowl here so that it can cool off and I can clean the pot. It's easiest to do it when it's hot. Yeah, I think our dough is almost ready, so we're going to get to shaping our crowns. But for this not to dry out, I'm going to cover this. Okay, this will help that the top shouldn't dry out, especially if we need to make a second batch of dough. The chicken is now defrosted, so I'm going to add the marinade straight in here so that I don't have to use another bag. I'm going to start off with some salt, paprika, garlic powder. I need some parsley, and this parsley is a little bit chunky. I'm going to get it into my hand. And I'm going to rub it in my hands to break it up a bit. And I get some oil in here. We're going to add some Ceylon, which is date syrup, some soy sauce, some lemon juice, and some garlic that we're going to crush. I'm going to close this up and rub this together. I'm going to get it into the fridge until we are ready to cook dinner later today. I think I also need to make a pickled cabbage. I can make that right before. Okay, this will go into the fridge. Now that the dough is ready, what I'm doing here is called Challah. This is a mitzvah, or good deed, that is mainly for women. Men can do this too. And whenever we make a dough made out of wheat, spelt, barley, oat, or rye flour, we do this. Now, there is some contingencies to it, meaning that if you are making a dough with about 2.6 pounds or almost 9 cups of flour, you would take it without making a blessing. But for a bigger dough of almost 4 pounds, or 12 and a quarter cups of flour, you do it with a special blessing meant for this, that we are separating some dough, setting it aside, and then I usually let it dry and then we burn it. We don't eat this, we don't use it. It's a piece that we separate, um, and this is just something that we do. This dough actually feels so good. Let's get to shaping this. So, the same book that I used to make the dough has the guide on how to make it. So, I'm going to use my scale here, and I'm going to take a chunk of dough, and we're going to weigh it out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to form this into a nice tight ball. See how good this dough is? Without any flour on the counter, nothing is sticking. It's gliding along so smoothly, and it was so easy to work with. I think maybe I should do it bigger. So to form this crown, you make a bowl that will be the interior of the crown to be able to hold up that shape. And then we need a second bowl of dough, about a 3/4 of the size, that we are going to roll out flat, and we're going to form the braids. I felt like the bowl that I shaped first was too small, so I went ahead, I took another piece of dough that was bigger than the first one, and I'm forming that into the bowl to be the center, and I'm going to roll out the other one to be the braids. So this here is nice and tight, and this will be our center of the crown. So to decorate it, I got here a bowl of water. We're going to dunk this dough in to get it nice and wet. And then I'm going to have to clean my counters between every step. I got some poppy seeds. I'm going to sprinkle that. Okay, so I'm preparing a parchment paper on another counter. I'm going to transfer this on there. For the next step, we're going to take our smaller bowl here, and we're going to roll this out into a big circle. It wouldn't jump back as much if I hadn't shaped it into the bowl earlier. But since I decided that it was too small, I figured we'll use this as our smaller bowl to do this. That might have been the wrong choice, but we're going to go with it now. Okay, this will be it. Okay, we're going to bring this dough bowl back, place it in the center over here. Now we're going to use this bench scraper to make 1-inch cuts all the way around. And now you want to try pulling them to be able to make it come up to the center. But don't take it up to the center yet, leave it on the bottom. Hey, so like I said, I have a helper in the kitchen today, so she wanted to help, so we put her to work. I told her what to do, and you'll see soon why I told her not to put it up yet. It's not exactly perfectly cut, but it'll work. And I hope I didn't make too many. Now that I'm done cutting the strips, I am also going to help out with the braiding. So now there's 4 left, so we're going to do 2 twists, I guess. While she's finishing that, I'm going to make a hole here in the center. And we're going to get these, pull it up, and push it in there. Now I'm taking one braid at a time, pulling it, and taking the end of it and pushing it into the hole that I just created. And I wonder if there's a way I could have made it stay better, because you'll see the end product, it didn't stay in there, and it lost a little bit of its shape. I wonder if I would have baked it right away, if that would have changed it, helped it out. I guess I will only know if I make it again. But I would make it again. It wasn't that complicated to make, and I think it came out beautiful, even though it didn't stay the exact shape I had made it into. Okay, so the recipe does say to put a maraschino cherry on top. I don't have that, but I do have a bunch of cherry tomatoes. So I would put it this way, upside down.
Put it in like this to bake.
I'm going to transfer this back onto our parchment paper. And the dough is already coming out of the center. Okay.
See, I told you.
We're going to get it onto a cookie sheet. And now we're almost done. The last step. We're taking two similar sized pieces of dough. I'm going to roll it into a nice long log that will fit around the entire crown. So we're each creating one log, and I keep checking it against the center of the crown that we just made, making sure that it fits around the entire thing so that I can cinch it at the back. So I keep rolling, checking until I am happy with the size that it is. I think this will be enough. I'm going to get this into our water. Cover in poppy seed. The second log is getting sprinkled with sesame seeds. Now the recipe did say to, basically if you ever saw me do the sourdough, how I cover it with sesame seeds, is that you make a little pile of it on the counter or the surface that you're working with and cover it like that. I think that would have been way better because I would have gotten a better coverage. Now we're going to twist these two together. Okay, they both have some of both on them. We're going to move this. I can't bring the cookie sheet here, so come around here. I'm going to put this around the base of the crown. So I was trying to figure out how to get the two pieces to stick together in the back. I was debating putting in a toothpick to keep it in place, but because the outside of the dough was dipped in the water, the dough was sticky, so I was able to, like, with my finger pull one into the other, and it made it into like one piece, and it stayed beautifully. We're gonna let this rise now for another hour and a half, and we'll keep an eye on it. And while this is going, we're gonna start our hamantaschen. We're gonna taste the cupcakes. They have completely cooled now. Sure, show them. So this one is not a perfect one, right? That's why you're taking this one? Yeah. Delicious. Yeah, the edges over here, yeah, nice and crispy. It's fluffy inside. Perfection. Okay, so this recipe book also has the Challah Taschen, but they do sweet filling. We're going to do the pastrami. But we're going to follow how to make it. So we have to make 1.5 ounces of dough per hamantash. You can either use the rolling pin or flatten it with your fingers. Okay, let's see. 1.5 ounces. This is perfect. So I went with the method of flattening with my hands. I figured it'll be easier and faster to do it this way than having to use the rolling pin. Okay, so we need a cookie sheet with parchment paper. Okay, and if we're doing this together, we gotta work out a way that we're not in each other's spaces. I think I may have made too much filling. A heaping teaspoon. Okay, let me make a few of them first, and then I'll show you guys so that I get the hang of it. So we have the 1.5 ounce dough ball. Shaping it into a rough circle, very thin and flat. We're taking a heaping teaspoon, putting it in the center. Then I'm lifting it and pinching one side. And then we're forming 2 more corners to make the triangle.
Are you going to make regular hamantaschen this year?
I'm not planning to.
Are you going to...
You want to make sure that you pinch it really well so that it doesn't open up while it's baking. So I continued doing this until I used up all the dough. So my daughter, my helper, was separating the dough into the 1.5 ounces, and I did the flattening, filling, and pinching. Now I saw that I have way too much filling from the start, from the get go. So I was doing a generous heaping teaspoon for the first few, and those really opened up, and I wasn't fully getting the hang of how much to pinch the corners yet. So the first few opened up. You'll see when they come out of the oven that the first tray, most of them are just a flat piece of dough with a scoop of the filling on top. Some of them are holding a little bit of its shape but opened up. But with the second tray, I'd say a good 75% of it held up beautifully and looked like a proper hamantash. So I am continuing to do this until all of the dough is done. Once my helper finished dividing all the dough, she is going to get the egg wash ready for us to brush the sides of the hamantaschen. So she's cracking an egg in the ramekin, beating it, and then with a pastry brush, she's brushing the egg wash onto the sides of the hamantaschen. Once the full tray is covered with egg wash, we are getting it into the oven at 350 for 20 minutes. I think I did 25, maybe even 30 minutes until I liked the color of the dough. It was lighter than I expected, lighter than my usual challah is, but I guess maybe it has to do with the amount of sugar that it has inside and didn't brown up as much. I don't know. But once she finished with this tray, we moved on to the next tray. She was egg brushing it as I was getting them onto the tray. Okay, this leftover filling, I'm going to cover back up and I'm going to set it in the fridge. And if it doesn't get eaten as is, I am going to buy some puff pastry next time I'm in the grocery, and we'll make some more just with the leftovers to have some more like a deli roll. So now the first batch of Deli Taschen is ready. So I am pulling it out of the oven, and you can see that most of them did open up. If not fully, then most of it opened up. And I am getting the crown challah in. Even though it's not been an hour, hour and a half, I decided to not let it rise fully and instead bake it as is to retain the shape. Okay, now the second tray is ready. I'm gonna get that out of the oven as well, and you can see that this one got a nicer color. I'm thinking that this one I left a little bit longer than the first tray, and that's why it has a bit of a nicer color on it. And this smelled so good. The entire house smelled so delicious. We just had to tear one open and taste it. So my husband and I decided to go for one. We took one of the ones that opened up completely, and oh my goodness, this was so good. The dough is delicious and fluffy, and even with that vanilla, it worked. It didn't have an overwhelming vanilla taste, and the pastrami Dijon just took over anyways, but it just was so good together. We ate another one for sure, maybe even two more, and I had to stop us from eating all of it because I want to have it for Purim day. Okay, so for the crown, I had it covered after a while because it was browning too fast and the inside wasn't fully ready. I used a thermometer to check the internal temperature because for dough you want it to be at 195 minimum. That's what I was looking for. As soon as it reached the 195, I pulled it out because I figured I'm still going to be reheating it the day that we're going to be eating it, and I figured that it'll continue baking a little bit then. And as you can see, it exploded a bit on the top, lost a bit of its definition, but that's okay. At this point, the kitchen was so overwhelming, and I figured that if I want to actually cook dinner, I better wash the dishes. So that's what I went ahead and did. I washed all the dishes that we used for all our baking projects. Now I am ready to prep dinner. I'm going to start by making our um, marinated cabbage. I don't know what to call it. So I'm weighing out the amount of cabbage that the recipe calls for. Next up, it calls for a quarter cup of thinly sliced onions. So I'm just gonna go by feel and see how much a quarter cup feels to me. because we can never go wrong with onions. I'm adding the onions into the bowl with a cabbage. I'm going to add some vinegar, oil, sugar, sea salt. I'm going to mix it all together and set it in the fridge so it can chill and marry all the flavors together until we are ready to eat this. Now we're going to make a sauce, or if you want to call it a dressing, to go with this as well. We're starting off with some tahini. We're going to add that into another bowl that I have prepped here. We're going to add some water. I'm adding some lemon juice, and I'm also preheating my grill pan to be able to grill the chicken. Maple syrup. And since I don't have fresh basil in the house, now I'm using basil cubes for this. Now my grill pan is hot, so I'm spraying some oil. And I'm going to get the first few pieces of chicken into the grill pan and start cooking. I'm adding some sautéed sauce. My chicken is ready to be flipped, and it's the first time I'm using this grill pan on this oven, I think. I got beautiful grill marks. I am so proud of it. I think it's the first time I got such beautiful grill marks in this pan. Once the chicken was ready, I removed it from the grill pan onto a plate to let it cool before we eat. I didn't record. I put together my chicken wrap, but I forgot to record it. So this is a different one that we're making here. And we're starting off by charring a wrap. So directly on the fire, place the wrap on the grids and flip it until it's nice and toasted and charred the way that you would like it. Once it is charred to the right desiredness, then I transferred it onto a cutting board, and I am cutting up the chicken into cubes just for the ease of eating it. And in the meantime, my husband is taking the basil tahini dip spread sauce that we made and spreading it over the wrap. If you want, you can do it like this, or at the end, you can drizzle this sauce over top. Either way is good. And once we got the chicken cut up and sauce spread over the wrap, we're gonna get the cabbage, slow pickle marinade onto the wrap. And again, do the amount that you would like. And then we're gonna get the chicken over top of that. Lay it all on top. And like I said before, if you want, you can drizzle some more sauce over top of the chicken, or just do the sauce over the chicken instead of on the wrap. And then when I wrapped it up sort of like a burrito, but you can eat it like a taco if that's what you want. I figured that it'll be easier to eat it this way. I roll it up and I cut it in half, again for the ease of eating it. And that is it. Look at this beautiful interior. The color, the vibrancy of the cabbage against the char of the wrap and the color of the chicken, just delicious. I didn't record my first bite. I thought I was recording, but oh my goodness, this is delicious. It is so good. The flavors in here, the mix of everything, the tahini, the basil, all the spices on the chicken, the quick pickle on the cabbage, the crunch of the onions. It's just so delicious. The char on the wrap. I haven't had something this good in a while. So this is it for today's video. The Deli Taschen and the Crown Challah are in the freezer, ready for us, waiting. And if you want to see any more Purim prep, hit subscribe. Next week's video will be more of that. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you join me for future videos.